my name is Gabby and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here then welcome to my channel, and today's video is going to be my spoiler-free review for The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches by Sangu Mandanna. I will have the content warnings for this book linked down below in the description along with links to some resources, and let's go ahead and get into it. Secret Society of Irregular Witches follows our main character Mika, who, as one of the few witches in Britain, has had to keep her magic a secret. But she does post videos to the internet pretending to be a witch, thinking that nobody would take it seriously until somebody does. And she ends up getting invited to the Nowhere house to teach magic to 3 young witches, and as she gets more comfortable with the house and its inhabitants, she finally feels like she has somewhere she belongs, but then when things get dangerous, she's going to have to decide if she's willing to risk everything for her newfound family. Into this book expecting an adorable, cozy read about romance, found family, and of course witches. And yeah, that's basically what I got here, but I also did get like a little bit extra that makes this feel very special to me. And let's go ahead and start by talking about the characters, starting with our main character, Mika. I really liked her throughout this book from a personality standpoint. I feel like she really added to the overall charm of the book, and this is a book with a lot of charm. But what really did connect me to her was her loneliness and just storylines surrounding self-worth and trusting others. Like, there were quite a few lines in here from just like her thoughts and her dialogue that could have been taken straight from my own brain, even though we do have different pasts and experiences. So I do feel like I had a deeper understanding of her and her character, and I really love seeing where she ended up by the end of the book. And I also do have a deep love and appreciation for her journey overall. She is also a witch, and we love that. And she's very good at potions and like different types of tea, which did add to the coziness of this book, and again, very cozy book. I really loved reading about her magic for sure. I actually do think that I would have loved to have seen even more of it, which is a compliment in this case, not a complaint, because I am really content with what we got here, and I do really like how this book used magic throughout the story. As for Jamie, I was not sure how I was going to feel about him going into this, because sometimes the love interests just don't land for me, but he did, and he was different from what I expected him to be, because he is the grumpy of our grumpy sunshine pairing, but he also really does have so much heart, and he just cares so much and is very kind. And he says a lot of really kind things in here that made my heart do things. And it really did just make me ship him with Mika even more than I already was, and I do think he also had some really wonderful moments individually when it comes to his own journey and trauma. And this book just has like a very lovely cast of characters as a whole. I thought that they were all super adorable and wholesome. They all have so much heart, and they have different ways of showing it and different personalities and interests, but I do really feel like they all came to life, and I really do love and care about all of them. I feel like I could read them forever. And I also really love how much they love and care for each other as well. I said the words found family earlier, and this is very much that. And if you don't already know, found families are some of my favorite things to read about, just like in this entire world. And there were just so many little and then also big moments between the characters that made me so happy, and honestly just made me feel kind of hopeful that there are people out there like this, even though these are just characters in a book. And we also do, of course, have a very lovely romance in here. I mentioned this earlier, but it is Grumpy Sunshine, which is one of my favorites. But again, I do feel like it is a little bit more, and I feel like it is a little bit different, just because of the characters and their personalities, and I do really feel like we got to know their hearts as well. And these two had a lot of conversations together that I really loved, and they just both felt very secure with themselves, but also with each other as a couple, and I just really appreciated how steady that they felt. So yeah, I really did like these two a lot, and I had an amazing time reading them throughout this book, and my heart did feel a lot of things, and those things were all good. Very emotional at times for sure, and this book certainly is no stranger to angst amongst all of the cozy, because we do spend a good portion of this book just like being with the characters and reading all of the cute and cozy and magical things that they're doing, but we also do spend a good amount of time unpacking trauma and uncovering the past of the characters in the Witch Society. And there is a really angsty section after a turn that this book takes that I will not get into because it is very spoilery, but it was the one time where I really did feel like a significant tone shift, which felt wild, but I also do feel like this book managed to pull it off at the same time. I also feel like this book did a good job at blending like the overall main like witch society storyline and the teaching storyline with the romance storyline and with the characters' more intrapersonal journeys. And I feel like everything was well paced, and like this is a short book and I feel like it all connected and wove together really well. And I've mentioned this a few times, but I also do really like the overall tone and like the charm that this book has to it. Again, it's very cozy, almost to the point of being too cozy because I did almost fall asleep a couple of times. And this book just felt like extremely wholesome at just so many points, but it does have like a twisted humor to it as well, which again was an interesting shift and balance. And I wouldn't say that every line of dialogue or every moment in here worked out for me in terms of humor and charm, but so much of it did that like a couple of like random moments that did take me out of it were very much ignorable enough. And there were also a few moments while I was reading where I was like, I'm not sure if this is really like my taste or sense of humor, but it is working anyway, because it all just tied into the charm and tone of the characters and the story and the atmosphere, which I was already in love with, so everything just became included as part of that. And I spent like 99% of my reading experience just like pleasantly amused and charmed, which felt very fitting. Like I did very much enjoy my experience reading this book, and then that combined with the love and the emotional connection that I felt to Mika and to the romance and for the found family and for the characters individually as well. Like I feel like I could have read much more than 300 pages of this because I already do miss the characters and the relationships, and I feel like I could have read so much more about them. Like this is one of the very few cases that I've had where I finished the book and I immediately wanted to reread it or just like watch some sort of adaptation about it, which I very much do want in the future, by the way, just so that I could interact with the characters and the story again. This is also the most amount of tabs that I've ever used while annotating, which like this is only my second month of annotating, so what do I really have to compare it to? But I'm also just marking quotes that I really love, so this does feel like a lot. And I do really feel like I am leaving this book just taking so much of it with me in my heart, and I ended up giving the Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches 5 out of 5 stars. Okay, so that is all that I have for today's video. Thank you all so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell, and answer the question that'll be around here if you want to do that, and hopefully I will see you here next time. Bye!